Hi, this is Michael Waits, and welcome back to India GameChanger. We are joined today by Aastha Rajpal, a co-founder of Ayna. I feel like there was like a little bit of a minefield there for me, but fair enough. Aastha, it's great to have you on the show. Before we get into the main part of this conversation, which should be super cool, let's give the listeners a little bit of your background for some context.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me here. Really appreciate it. So I started my journey like back in 2017. I'm a DTU graduate. I did my engineering in environmental engineering, and but I'd always been into business side of things. I had a little startup in college as well called Bridge Gap, and since then I've been like very fascinated by entrepreneurship. But post my college, I did consulting for a little more than 2 years. Realized I like more than strategy, I like execution side of things more. So then I joined Oyo. In Oyo, I was working with international markets, again strategy and execution side of things. And post that, I joined Razorpay. I was working with the CBO, help him manage the business, and in early 23, I quit my job. I think it's the boldest thing I've done. And to start something of my own, the next 6, 7 months just went into figuring out what to do. I think we didn't have an idea. Before that, I did not even have a co-founder. Yash and I, we met through some common friends. I just like attribute that to destiny. And yeah, I mean, we just like started working, figuring out, like, I think every month there was like some idea that was coming. Oh, but this doesn't work, right? Customers don't want it. And after like 6, 7 months, we started Ayna. So that's a brief about my journey.
I love it. I love it. Okay, let's jump right into this thing. Will artificial intelligence or AI fashion models completely replace human beings? What do you think?
I don't think completely. I think for the boring stuff, maybe, right? Like catalog imagery is boring, right? Nobody likes it and everybody wants efficiency. But what like influencers are here to stay, right? Celebrities are here to stay. So I think the boring stuff will be done by AI. The rest, goody and like glamorous stuff, still would be done by humans.
It's such a great answer because I have always said that like the artificial intelligence technology, even the generative AI, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to replace humans. It's going to augment humans, and it's really going to take away,
Yeah.
again, all of the minutia and the boring stuff that people have to do so they can do the stuff they really love. And if that's the case actually in modeling as well, that's a great story. Okay, let's talk about Ayna in a little bit more detail. So first of all, where did the idea come from? Like, why did you guys settle on this? Because you said at the beginning, like, we didn't really have an idea per se.
Yes. I think so. Yash and I, we met in January and we just started exploring. I think we both were very clear that we want to build a B2B business because it's something that we both were very comfortable with. Now this is January of 23, right? And we both without jobs, figuring out what to do, and I think like first was like we started looking, since I had experience working with the CBO, right? I saw a lot of gaps with financials, right? I mean, so when you're doing annual operating plan, all of that, right? So I figured that that would be a good starting point if we can build something for the finance teams, a B2B tool. But that did not fly out, right? And then I think we worked on MLOps, DevOps. I don't know. I think I had lots of theses. I don't know. I think every month we would just go and figure out, let's do this month. And, we'll build a thesis, we'll go. And, but one thing which we did was, talk to customers first, right? We just would not get into building directly. I think we hardly made any MVPs. One thing was very sacrosanct to us, that we are going to speak to 10, 20 people who have this issue, what we think is the problem, right? And if it's actually like it's a problem, right, then only we'll build an MVP, right? So that was always the way we thought about it. We were both very aligned, right? We don't want to like spend a lot of time building unless like, we are sure that, this makes sense. So I think 5, 6, 7 months of a lot of iterations. We are like now in June and July of 23. And now we are speaking to some apparel brands. I think we were selling them something on inventory side. You can manage a return, some tool. And Yash now was like, he Asta, like, of course, we're like looking at SaaS tools with, dude, I gotta make money, right? So he just like started exploring, some B2C app where you can put in like 15, 16 photos of yourself. And then you can probably have like Michael sitting on a beach, drinking coffee or whatever, right? So like a headshot sort of an app. So he was building that to, just get some extra money. And I don't know, like, I think we like pitched, we were speaking to, like, we were going through that cycle of, talking to brands that, hey, do you think this boring solution will make your life easy, and da 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 da. And I think photos somehow came up. I think we were talking, and like, yeah, showed that, hey, I built this cool thing. You can put 15 photos of yourself and you can create headshots of yourself. And the person like who we were pitching it to said, hey, can I put my cloth in this? Like, can I show my cloth in this, right? Rather than you generating it through
I
AI,
love it.
can you do that? And we like looked at each other for 2 minutes and like, it's like, yeah, we can try that. And that was like the V1 of Ayna. We were not even thinking about it. And it was basically, I think I still have that image where, there is a photo of me where I'm wearing a dress that I've never worn. And then again, we went to the market, and that was basically like the first version of like virtual try on, which we like did. But again, we got like a very lukewarm response because there was like a more burning need, which was the photo shoots. And then we again like started talking, and then like some of the brands said, hey, can you do like some photo shoots as well? And then, we built like MVP2, which was like the photo shoots, and that flew off like any.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think we were in like, without any team, without anything, we were signing contracts here and there. I mean, I think we released it in October mid. By November end, we have 10, 12 enterprise customers. And I'm talking about brands like Clovia, Zivame. These are like huge like brands in India, right? The need was so burning. All the new age D2C brands raised like 10 million, 20 million, $50 million were, coming and wanted to use our solution. And then we realized, oh, we don't have the bandwidth to cater to them, right? Back then, it used to take us 20 minutes to generate a photo. And the volume is the game in this industry, right? Speed is volume is game, right? So you just can't mess it up. So we realized that, we need a team to, start doing that. We got some interns in and started doing a bit of it. And yeah, signed the contracts and realized there's a good need for in the market. And then we started building the product.
So did you build your own technology? Like, I'm curious what you were doing at the beginning. And there must have been a lot of manual stuff, like taking a thing, putting it into Photoshop, doing some generation, right? But what do you do now? Because that doesn't scale.
Right, exactly. So we have a very, so basically what our technology does is it takes the garment out of the photo. So basically it works in 3 simple steps, right? The first step is you create your virtual human. Say you need a Southeast Asian man, with like, brown eyes, gray hair, whatever, right? So you can so, you can create your virtual human. Once your virtual human is created, then you can put in a base photo shoot, an input photo shoot, where what our tech does is it takes the garment out. It extracts the garment out of the image. And then, you can generate your image. You can put in the model that, you've created. You can select the background that you want. You can mention any background, right? For example, if you want like park, you want ocean, whatever, right? And you can generate your, you can generate your virtual photo shoot. So that's something what we used to do. Back then, the issue was we did not have any resources, right? No GPUs, nothing, no AWS, etc. Right? So the machines used to take us like a lot of time. So we were generating like one image in 15 minutes. But the technology has been always ours. We took a base model, build a lot of intelligent layers on top of it to get the outputs that work in the industry.
So you built your own stuff. So you took a base. I just want to understand this. You took a base model and you built all your own technology around it.
Absolutely.
Did it speed it up? Did it make it more efficient? Did it change the types of machinery that you can, the back end processing that you can use to do this? Or
absolutely. We were not using any other tools. Even like today, our model is hosted in our servers. We don't use any APIs, nothing. Everything is done in-house through us.
Wow. So what is your dev team like?
So our dev team, we have an interesting structure, right? So our tech team basically is we have like three sub teams into it. One is AI, core AI research. The other is applied AI, which is like an intersection of research plus what goes out. And the third is like pure product team who works on UI, UX, and making the system robust and scalable. So we have
Yep.
these three teams as of now. Yeah.
Let's talk about the product itself, or actually the customer side, right?
Yeah.
How do these fashion models that are AI generated enhance the online shopping experience? Like, why is it better for me? And then what kind of feedback maybe have the brands received from customers that are actually interacting with it? Do you know what I mean? Because people know, right?
Actually, now it's gotten so good that people don't know. We are, you won't believe, Michael, that in Bangalore, in one of the poshest areas, we are live with a brand where they have 6 feet banners made through Ayna in their retail store. It's going to change the world.
Wow.
Now imagine like there's videos, right? From photos to videos, you can create 5-second videos, right? You've created an image, you can make the model walk, right? So imagine your ads, your billboards, right? Tomorrow, everything is going to be changing. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think your question was more from a customer POE and, where you see this as a value add, right? So imagine, so I'm not going to name the brand, but I was speaking with one of the largest brands in the world. We were sitting across. He was telling me that, I spend like a quarter of time in cataloging. Imagine if you have 20,000 styles, right? In a year, right? Around 5 to 6 images are basically per style, right? You see, right? Like in Myntra or like so in like Amazon, right? You see that like there are different poses, etc. Right? So that is like around 1,20,000 images, right? That they need to do. Now cataloging is a huge manual process. It's very it's very manual, like finding the model, getting the makeup artist on, and then getting the photographer, all of that, like is and if it's a lifestyle shoot, right, where you see like the campaign shoots, right, it's more because you have to go to a location, you need to get a stylist, you get a lot of people up, right? So the major thing that brands see value is first to start on is with speed, right? Because imagine if you have inventory sitting in your warehouse and you cannot put it on Amazon or wherever, right? It's of no use. You're losing revenue every day if it's not out, right? So that is like, and in comparison to that, the cost of cataloging or photo shoots does not matter, right? Because you're literally every day that you're sitting on your inventory, which is not going out, you're losing revenue simply, right? So we help with the speed, right? Now you don't need any of it, right? Even the banner images that we created for the retail store, it was done in literally a day, right? Imagine if they had to go out and like shoot in Italy or all of that, right? That would have been made it like very, very difficult.
So you bring up a really good point. So can I do this? Let's say I want to create, like you said, a Southeast Asian woman with long black hair, but dip dyed at the bottom in a little bit of red and blue, wearing multiple outfits, 3 of which are like in Amalfi on a perfect weather day, 2 of which in the south of, I could just do all of this, give these types of commands.
Yes.
And then the images just get generated. Maybe I get 5 images for each one, and then I just get to choose the right one, and then boom, it goes into the catalog. But here's the thing, and I think you're right here, just to loop back to this, that means that the models that, for the complicated shoots, right, where maybe there's a ton of activity or it needs to be filmed and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think this is going to change over time too, at some level.
Yeah.
But the other thing I believe, and tell me if you disagree with this, is that I think humans make visceral connections with other humans. And that at some level, I want to think that the brand ambassador has a personality that like matches mine, if that makes sense.
It does.
Do you know what I mean?
It does. Absolutely. The model that wears it, I mean, of course, I think with fashion, there is an aspirational value, right? Whenever you're buying something, right? And of course, that connection is extremely important. But now the good thing is that you can customize it for people. Say Michael connects with something else, maybe Asta connects with something else, right? Now we have
Yeah.
the option to have that dynamicity, right? To show Michael what Michael likes and show Asta what Asta likes, right? This was not possible before, right? Because there was
No.
just one model. You don't have an option. If it's a South African woman or a Indian woman, right? So you really don't have an option, right? It is what it is. You have to get the shoot done.
So I had one of the senior product people at booking.com
Mhm.
on one of my other shows a couple of days ago. We had this killer conversation, and she's been watching the technology in the travel industry change over the past 2 decades.
Mhm.
So she's really insightful. She knew what she was talking about. So I asked her about personalization,
Mhm.
and she said to me, I don't like the word personalization. She said, I want to talk about relevance.
Yeah.
Right? Because it may be the case
Yeah.
that I'm a Caucasian male,
Yeah.
but maybe to get my attention, I want to see something else. And you know that from some of my other personal preferences.
Yep.
And frankly, you can show me a similar, I'm going to say outfit, but let's just say clothing,
Yeah.
or frankly, any other product based on a bunch of other things you know about me that may not mirror me, but that interest me. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I think when we started, so this is I'm just like going a bit off topic, right? But I think every woman you talk to, I think we all are like very fascinated by fashion. And I always wanted to start in fashion, right? I always digged for ideas, what I can do in fashion. And I did not want to leave tech as well. And I mean, I sometimes look back and I just get a bit emotional that, wow, how I came here. And like one of the ideas I always used to think about was the relevance point that you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going on Zara or if I'm going on any website, right? I don't want to see like the thousands of styles, right? I don't want to waste my time because every
Nope.
10 minutes I'm going to get bored and I'm like, okay, it's not working out, right? Or
Yep.
what I'll do is I'll just end up ordering 20, 30 items and probably return half of it, right?
Yeah.
That's not like the best way. And plus, I don't want to waste my time, right? I want to see what's relevant for me, right? If I like black, if I like some sort of dress, right? I don't like blingy stuff, right? So I don't want to see that, right? Why are you showing me that, right? I just
Right.
want to optimize for my time. And I always used to think that, I mean, as an idea, but I could like never execute it. But sometimes, when I look back and I just feel that how life, comes along and, whatever you really wanted, like probably you get it.
Yeah, and again, I made the analogy to my experience at restaurants, right? Like I often go back to the same restaurant, and in some cases, I don't have to order because they already know
Yeah.
the type of thing that I want, right? So they're not recommending to me to have like this thing. They'll say, hey, today we have these 3 things that might interest you because of all the other things that I've eaten. And if they want to pair a wine with it as well, they know I don't really drink red wine kind of thing.
Yeah.
So can I ask you this? What type of data are you gathering? And then what role does like that data analysis play in your ability to then create the right environment and the right imagery for the brands that you work with?
That's a great question. So as of now, we do not take any data. As of now, we go with what the brand's previous knowledge has been that,
Got it.
probably a brunette works, blonde doesn't work, right? Or maybe like these type of features work because that shows our brand language. We get higher conversion on these types of models, right? But in our roadmap, we do have, where we want to integrate this thing, where we are able to, collect that data, map it up with the sales ones and just personalize the experience a bit more in terms of models, in terms of relevance, right? But that's in the roadmap. Currently we are just focused on just acing the photo shoots to the best of we can.
How fast are you growing right now?
That's a great question. So we are working with some of the largest brands in India. As we started recently working with Lee and Wrangler. I think
Oh wow.
yeah. Yeah. And Indian Garage and like a lot of Indian brands we have started working with. But we are growing good 50-60% month on month. We
Good
are
for you.
yet to release like our product. all of it has been very much into a services manner right now. We
Yep.
just raised, just closed, getting the good team in. It's been a quarter. But yeah, the demand has not stopped. I think we are one team which I feel very lucky that we have so many customers who trust us, who are able to, even like get past the fact that, we are not even able to get them a good product yet. We are just like giving them the good images, and, that's been enough for them yet. But we are building that product out yet. And hopefully, I think in the next 1 month or so, we should be out with a product.
So that's interesting. But the entire business will change, though, don't you think, when the product is finally developed? Because right now, maybe you're getting a phone call or an email or a text that goes, we need 15 images of this, and here's some of the basic things. And then your team goes and does that.
Yes.
But while you're doing that, based on the 3 tech teams that you said you have, right? The research team, I forget all of them, and then the UI UX team, right? Once they come out with a product, I presume there's going to be some sort of self-serve thing here, and a monthly payment or an image generation amount. There's a bunch of different business models you can have, but everything's going to change once you do that. Then you can focus not on the service part per se, but then the tech building part. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think this is something I learned from Razorpay, right? Of course, we're going to divide it into 3 buckets. One is going to be the enterprise, where of course the focus is going to be there, right? That there will be people to handhold, and and then there will be long tail customers, right? Where it will be self-serve. We'll have like a very strong customer success in place, customer support in place. But yeah, the idea would be to grow there, faster through product-led growth.
You mentioned earlier this idea of try-ons as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing that now, but that has to be on the roadmap, right? Because I'd love to see, I have a whole idea in my head, by the way, that I've been talking about for a few years.
Yeah.
About what kind of virtual shopping should look like. And let me give you my example.
Sure.
I want to shop at a specific store in Paris.
Sure.
And I know I can buy stuff from there online, but I want to try it on first.
Yeah.
But I can't get to Paris because I'm just too busy, right?
Yes.
So we can create these virtual rooms. We have the technology to create this kind of virtual experience where I can literally transport myself, like metaphorically there.
Yeah.
Try on all the clothes, get a 360 view of what I look like.
Yeah.
And then maybe even order a customized size, although I don't think that's a big deal, because I think if you customize it too much, it fits in a way that you don't expect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But this idea of being able to try it on, even though you're not going to the store, would be super cool. And I also think there's going to be this interactive thing where I can actually deal with a sales agent in that store and ask them real questions. And whether that's an avatar or a real person, I think that is going to be a cool experience for shopping. Does that make sense as well?
That makes a lot of sense. I think I completely believe that this is going to be the shopping experience, right? Now imagine you're wearing your Vision Pro or Meta Quest, and then you're able to transport to that. You can actually open that Paris shop, go in there, and actually virtually try it, right?
Yeah.
That's something that we are very actively working on, on our research side, right? As to how it can, look super realistic. How can somebody wear it? And we have already started getting some amazing results. So we are able to get simpler patterns onto somebody. Right now it's on virtual models only, but yeah, soon we can try it on people as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to have this happen. Is there a sustainability issue here? Do you know what I mean? Because part of what you said earlier just made me think about this. If I'm not flying to Italy to shoot, well, then I'm saving fuel. If I'm not actually building the physical product that somebody has to wear, then I'm saving the material that I may otherwise throw out. All of this stuff, is there a sustainability issue that you guys care about as well?
Absolutely. I think one of the reasons why a lot of brands go under is because the RTOs, the return to origin, is very, very high, right? Especially in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
It is as high as 30-40%, right? Imagine the logistics, reverse logistics that goes into all of it, right? Plus, imagine the amount of waste that is dumped every year by major fast fashion brands, right?
Yeah, I mean, so every brand really, but yeah. If
you can really predict, what you like, right? And I think this can actually happen across the supply chain, right? Even from when design is done, right? To when the customer has the product in hand. Because of this technology, you can actually try to gauge the demand, and then you can predict how much should you, manufacture, right? So that actually helps a lot. And plus, of course, the returns issue is also there, But of course, this one adds a major chunk.
Can I ask you this? If you're doing fashion, in a way, it almost seems like a Trojan horse into a bunch of other verticals, right? I know you're into fashion, and that's great, right? Because you want to do the business in the place that you're most in love, right?
Right.
But there's an entire interior design business as well with furniture and stuff like that people have tried to do, but it has always felt really clunky.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
Do you see like yourselves moving into other verticals as well as you perfect this technology, become known for that, and then say, if it works here, we can make it work there?
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, we actually started doing photo shoots for some of the furniture brands in India because the tech was sick. Actually, we did
It's
it
got
for
to be, right?
furniture brands as well. So imagine the issue there is also very same, right? You have a bulky sofa, and if you want to place it in a living room, you're not going to carry it to like a beautiful living room, right? You're just going to take a photo, and then, right now what happens is they stitch the photos, they try to figure out a background, that might work with the sofa, and then they stitch it, right? And it just takes a lot of time. I think the biggest value add for any brand, any D2C brand, is like the go-to market becomes fast, right? This process in itself takes like 3 weeks, right? And again, 3 weeks you can't sell, you're losing on your revenue.
I got it. Let me ask you this too. So this, you said you wanted to do B2B. I get it. B2C businesses are really hard, right?
Yeah.
Because if you can get one big business to work with you, it's like getting 1 million individuals to work with you, and the revenues, I get it. It's just completely different.
Absolutely.
But once you perfect the tools themselves, does it make sense to give access to those tools to individuals? Because right now I use a bunch of AI tools that create imagery.
Yeah.
They're good, but they're not great. And if Ayna does what you says it does, or if you're developing the tech to make that accessible,
yeah,
plenty of people, like individual creators like I am, are going to want to use that to do a whole bunch of different design things. Yeah.
Right.
Is that going to be possible as well? Is that on the roadmap?
Yes. So once, we launch our self-serve, right? We're not going to distinguish bases. Oh, you're a solopreneur versus you're an enterprise, right? So
I get it. Yeah.
The idea would be that it is open for all. You can just come and use it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to use it because there are plenty of other tools out there that do this.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have been doing what you've been doing, but maybe they missed the mark a little bit without mentioning any of their names. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. I think what we have done is, so what I understand in generative AI is reaching 80% is the easiest, right? I mean, we reached
for sure
in a month, right? It's the easiest part. But how do you get and, get the outputs for your specific use case? That's the hardest part. And I would say that's the reason why there are not a lot of enterprise AI, companies right now, because they don't want 80%. They want more than 95%, right? And that's the hardest part to reach there.
Yeah. And the other thing too is I found that when I use some of these generative AI tools, at some point it drops down to the bottom of the funnel and the output looks almost exactly the same, even if I give slightly nuanced descriptions, right? I don't have to tell you what the tool is, but if I say, again, give me an Asian man running on a country road, and then say, give me this type of in a way, it ends up being the same. How do you make sure that the technology can iterate in a way so that the nuance differences are there? Because that's what differentiates. There are plenty of guys that look kind of like I do, but the nuances are what matter, right?
Right. So what we do is we have a feedback loop in the place, right? Where what we try to do is we try to understand from technology if what you've written is actually the output that you've gotten or not. So, I mean, that's something that we have started, doing. And if it's not, then it goes into feedback loop as to what is the issue. And then it just comes back and, regenerates the output.
Got it. Okay. It's a great idea to get customer feedback.
Yeah.
2 more things and then I'll let you go because you must be insanely busy. The first is, when do you think you expand outside of India and give access to brands in Japan, in Southeast Asia, in the United States, or in Europe?
Yes. That's a great question. I think India is a forgiving market. As I said, right? I mean, right? We have been serving customers the way we have, right? I think when we go out, we want to be very professional, because
Yep.
those markets, they're more developed and they're not forgiving, right? And you have one shot, right? Before like a customer thinks, oh,
Yeah.
this doesn't work, right? And I'm not going to
Yep.
give it another chance on my time. So what we're doing is we are perfecting everything, the edge cases, etc. As I said, right? Like 80%, 90%, 95%, the journey is tough, right? I would like to say we are at somewhere 92, 93%, just improving it a bit more, like some edge cases that can be fixed. And then, we are out and we can do self-serve. Once we are
Yeah.
in self-serve, we actually started speaking with some US brands last week, and we actually like spoke to 7, 8 brands, and we have started doing POC with some as well. These are mid-market brands in US, and we just like told them that, hey, this is what we have right now, right? So you'll have to be a bit, right? It's being
Patient, yeah.
perfecting it, right? We will do it in a services manner, and we'll give you the outputs. And yeah, we've started doing the POC with some US customers, but soon the idea is to go to Europe, go to Japan, like just take it throughout the world.
Good for you. I want people to understand what it's like to build in Bangalore just before I let you go.
Absolutely. Actually, like when Yash and I started, we were in Delhi and, just virtually working. But then my fiance is here, right? He also has an AI startup. And he was like, oh, you got to come here, you got to come here. And we both came here. We started working out of their office. The vibe, the people, right, that you meet here, it's just unparalleled, right? You want that, right? You want that community support while you're building to validate your ideas, and people here like would give you chances. When you're in your early days, like you need chances more than anything else.
Yeah. But it's weird, right? So Delhi is not a small place.
Yeah.
It's filled with well-educated people.
Yep.
But you're making the point here that Bangalore is actually really like Silicon Valley, where you just go into any cafe and over there are 3 ladies trying to sell their idea to some venture capitalist, or 2 guys arguing about like UI and UX design.
Yes.
Right. And I feel like I miss that because we're building as well, right?
Yep.
And my co-founder and I are always talking about this. We're like, should we just go to Silicon Valley and spend like 6 months there so we can learn something from other people that are building? Because we know we have gaps.
Yeah.
But you're suggesting that if you're in Bangalore, if you have gaps, it's not easy, but there are probably other people that have had those gaps and they can tell you, here's how we filled them.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. I think recently only my fiance and I, we went on a date to a coffee place, and literally there was like 2 co-founders fighting. Oh, this is how it should be. This is how it should be.
Right.
He's dropping it a bit, and we were just smiling at each other. And this is generally like his and my equation is also, right? Something is happening in his startup, something's happening in my startup. We're just talking with this and that. And the party system is also like so nice here. Like you're just like meeting so many like-minded people and just talking. I mean, you want good engineers, you get here. You want good folks, product managers, UI, UX. I mean, all the problem solvers are definitely in Bangalore. Great place to be.
Is it a place where people are wearing like the T-shirt or the polo shirt with their company name on? Like, there's got to be a Flowwork shirt and Ayna shirt. No? Yes. Am I wrong?
Yes, Karthik is just wearing it. I mean, he has so many clothes, but every day he will just wear that. I'm like, why didn't you do it?
He can't wear that on a date. I'll tell him if you don't tell him.
So yeah, I mean, that's how it is. That's actually how it is.
Well, I'm going to have to get to Bangalore sooner rather than later. Look, I really appreciate your time today. I'm blown away by the kind of stuff you're doing. And let's do this. When you get the product out, right? Yeah. I'd love to have Yash back on as well.
Absolutely.
To maybe talk about how that's working and stuff. But I really appreciate your time. Aastha Rajpal, a co-founder of Ayna. You are awesome. And I cannot wait to see what happens here. Thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.